Hello everyone, nubkeks here, welcome back to Nub Raids, and in today's video I want to give you my list for my top 10 champions for arena offense in Raid Shadow Legends, so we can end up with a nice arena page which looks like this, right? Victory after victory. Lovely. This is obviously following on from my top 10 list for arena defense champions, which I recorded yesterday. Make sure to check that out in the channel down below. And if you're watching this live when it comes out, you might be in time, hopefully, if I remember to schedule stuff correctly, to check out my live stream. Going to be streaming live when this personal reward CVC starts over on my Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/nubkeks. So go over there, follow, come say hello, check it out, hang out with me for a while. If you've missed the scream, make sure to follow, and yeah, you might catch the next one. I'm going to be trying to stream more on my Twitch channel, reviving it after leaving it for dead for a long time now. A long time. We're gonna bring it back. Let's do it. So anyway, without any further ado, let me get my list up on my phone, where I've professionally typed it up on my phone whilst walking the dog. And yeah, let's dive right in. So arena offense, the number one champion for me is Prince Kaimar. He, for me, is the best champion overall in arena offense. Why is that? Well, we look at his skills. Turn 1, AoE attack, buff strip the enemy team, and crowd control them. Amazing. Everything you want in a turn 1. And then turn 2 resets the cooldown of all your ally skills. For an offense team, this is the perfect 1-2 punch to blitz through whatever defense the enemy has put up against you. And on top of that, he has top tier arena speed aura for all arena battles. Most usually, you're going to be building speed teams for arena offense. It's the quickest way to just get through it, right? Arbiter obviously gives you a similar aura, but if you're not using Arbiter, like in 3v3, where you want to build more speed teams, either you pull other Arbiters or you pull a Lord Chazar, or most likely Prince Kaimar is going to be what you bring in there as the most flexible option for giving you other alternatives for speed teams, because you need that speed aura. So yeah, he is just absolutely incredible. Pretty much on every level, I do rate him as number 1. In number 2 spot, I'm actually giving it to her that we just mentioned, Arbiter. I'm going to give it to Arbiter. I think for 99.9% of players, once you get your Arbiter, 99.9% of the time, she is going to be in your arena teams. I already mentioned Prince Kaimar. Like, there are alternatives, and you could build slower teams, different types of teams for sure. But for most people, Arbiter is going to be in there for the longest time. She's just a staple of the game. It's one of the silliest comments I do see, which is that Arbiter is not part of the meta anymore. No one uses Arbiter. This is absolutely not true, guys. Absolutely not true. In fact, let me go prove it to you right now. Let me prove it to you right now. If I go into Tag Arena, so obviously most of the time we're leaving like these one-man defenses, right, for CVC. But if we look at, like, I can see right here, Arbiter team. This is in gold 2. Arbiter there, Arbiter. If I look at my battle log for people that are attacking me, Arbiter. This guy's got 2 Arbiters, for goodness sake. So yeah, please stop with this myth that Arbiter is not relevant in late game arena. It's painful to hear that. It's painful. Anyway, she is just amazing for all the reasons that you know. That big speed aura, an amazing speed booster with increased attack, turn meter fill, I mean. Yeah, it's just insane. Just exactly what you want with crazy base speed. Perfect for arena offense. She's super good. She's just taken for granted. She's really taken for granted because we're so used to always having her. In spot number 3 then, someone I wish I had, Warlord. Warlord has the best move in the game for arena. Orcish Rituals, AoE attack that has, when it's booked up, a 100% chance to put each target skills on cooldown. And it even has a really good chance to deplete all of their turn meters as well, which is nice. But this is the big thing. Look, if he puts all of your team skills on cooldown, it basically wins almost every single fight, right? So when you have a Warlord with enough accuracy to hit through the resistance of the enemy team, it's pretty much just an I win button. There's nothing they can do to come back from that. So Warlord, he is just an absolute monster for arena offense. In 4th position then is, following up from Warlord, it's Warlord 2.0 really, and that's going to be Yumiko. Yumiko coming in then as, for me, I do rank her slightly lower than Warlord because her move is not quite as powerful on offense, where she will decrease your ally skills, which is nice, and then she'll also increase enemy skill cooldowns by 3 turns. So it's not as much of a cooldown as Warlord, who puts them fully on cooldown, much more powerful. But this is almost as good, you know, it's still pretty much going to win the fight for you just straight up. Usually you know, it's not guaranteed that she's going to do useful cooldown reduction for your team, right? Because she's going to go probably pretty early on in the fight. But if you ever do come back around to a second go of this, then that cooldown reduction is, of course, going to be very powerful. And she has some other really cool stuff with like hexes and her passive, just other cool things. The main thing, though, is just putting all those enemy skills on cooldown. It goes through block debuffs, that goes through stone skin, anything like that. This will work. She just needs lots of accuracy to make it happen. Simple as that. So insanely powerful. In number 5, then, is a champion I do have, and I absolutely love him. He is a complete game changer when you get him. Ramantu Drake's Blood, currently the final reward from the missions in-game. Takes you a long time to get this guy. It's going to take you probably, it took me about 1.5 years to get Ramantu. That's how long it took. But he is super worth it when you get him. This move, Blood Wings, is just completely on another level. AoE attack that strips all buffs before attacking. Fantastic. And then if they have passives, he's the only champion in the game that can do this. He puts block passive skills on enemies with passive skills for 2 turns. If they don't have passive, he puts block active skills on them for 2 turns. He does some other cool stuff as well. But basically, this just helps you deal with so many. If you go look at my top 10 champions for arena defense, you're going to see that a lot of those champions have really insane passive skills that make it very difficult. You think about trying to nuke down a team with a Duchess, and she's giving 25% damage reduction from AoE skills, all that sort of stuff. You look at like champions like Rotos or Leorius, Candrafon, all these scary champions. He comes in, strips their buffs, and he blocks their passive skills. Just insanely good for just knocking through those tough passive skill champions. And no one else does this. No one else does it. So he is insane. You put him in there with, if you're lucky enough to have a Yumiko or a Warlord, you put those two in together and you go, you've got no passive skills. All of your skills are on cooldown. What is the enemy team going to do? They're just going to lose. That's what's going to happen. Next up then, in... what's it, 6th position? Yeah, I've got Hegemon. Hegemon, again, really strong champion on arena offense. Why? He always goes first each round. And you can choose which way you want to build him. Do you want to build him to do a big AoE nuke? Build him for damage? You can do that and just nuke the enemy team before they have a chance to do anything. Alternatively, build him to crowd control the enemy team, right? The fact that you can pick and choose your fight and you can see, do they have a Hegemon counter? Like, do they have a cleanser like a Mithrala or a Riho Bone Spear? If not, great. It's kind of a free win. It's just so hard to deal with this from Hegemon. There's much more options nowadays in the game. Like I said, with Mithrala, Stone Skin champions, that sort of thing. But he is just still an absolute monster because you don't need to build him with speed. You can just throw him in there with as much accuracy as you want or as much damage as you want. And he is just a terrifying force. Really powerful. Gives you so many free wins. Next up then, this is where we go into some new champions. And this is where my list is probably going to start to deviate from some of the older lists, or perhaps even deviate from some of the lists that you have. Because in 7th position, is it 7th? No, it's in, 7th position. I forgot to write numbers on this. I'm actually going to put in Gaius the Gleeful. I'm ranking this guy extremely highly in my list. Gaius is just a complete monster in arena offense. He is so good. His only real weakness is his affinity. Similar to Kymar, very similar to Kymar here. What's so good about him is this A2 AoE attack that puts targets to sleep, so very much like Kymar minus the buff strip. And then he also puts 2 bombs on each enemy that detonate after 2 turns. Now bombs ignore defense, so they always do the same amount of damage. You give this guy increased attack, and these bombs do so much damage. He just rips through enemy teams. Very, very powerful. Then he has a bomb explosion on his A3 that can also hit through unkillable. So he can deal with swift parry. He can deal with champions like Leorius, all the rest. He is just a complete monster. Gaius is so, so good. I built him fast in perception, kind of Prince Kymar style, which is one way to do it. Another really viable way is to build him in Stone Skin, right? Other damage dealers kind of need Savage or Lethal to hit through enemy defense. Because his damage, though, comes from bombs, he does not need Savage gear. So you can build him in Stone Skin and make him almost an unkillable damage dealer. You just can't deal with him because he's in Stone Skin, and he's still going to basically one-shot your team if you don't have some way to cleanse off these bombs and stop them happening. So yeah, Gaius, for me, he is an absolute monster. Next up then, again, this is where things might diverge from people. We're going to Shadowkin for the next 2 champions, and I rate them kind of equally. It depends on which way you're using them, and they both do the same sort of thing. First up, Lady Kimmy. What does she do that's so good? Well, she does a bunch of stuff. Increase speed, turn meter fill. But the big thing that we're looking for here is that increased accuracy buff, right? Increase accuracy. If you look at the other champions I've rated really highly on my list, Warlord, Yumiko, Gaius, Kaimar, etc., what do all of these champions need to do their jobs, for their I win buttons to function? They need enough accuracy to hit through the enemy's resistance. And especially with champions like Mithrala Lifebane, who comes with crazy resistance due to her passive now, and people building resistance type teams, having that increased accuracy can be absolutely crucial. Lady Kimmy functions very well in a sort of more traditional speed team, where she gives you the turn meter fill, increased speed. She can put decreased speed and turn meter pushback on the enemy, that sort of thing. Insane base speed. So she functions very well in a more traditional sort of speed team. And my other option that I'm putting up next, this is going to blow people's minds, but Yoshi the Drunkard, consistently one of my favorite champions and consistently one of the most underrated champions in the game. What does Yoshi do? He gives you increased attack and increased accuracy. So if we look at a champion like Gaius, yeah, you can absolutely build an insane Stone Skin offense team, which just aims to go second. It aims to go second. You just sit there in your Stone Skin. You don't need an Arbiter. You don't need Sifi. You don't need anyone giving you increased attack, whatever it is. You don't need speed boosters. Sit in your Stone Skin. And Yoshi basically gives someone like Gaius everything they need to work. Increase attack, increase accuracy. Someone else to come in and strip their buffs. And then Gaius lays in the bombs with increased accuracy, increased attack. They can't resist it. And it's just going to kill them. An insane combo. So powerful. Again, for hitting through those Mithrala teams, for dealing with it. I just think Yoshi's phenomenal. Got a great passive for cutting in and disrupting the enemy as well. So yeah, absolutely fantastic champion. Really cool for arena offense. And then finally, I think the best sort of general nuker for arena offense is going to be Leorius. I'm going to give him the final spot on this list. It's kind of tough. It's tough to have a list with only 10 champions. But I think for me, Leorius is the best, just straightforward upfront damage dealer. He has not only 1, but 2 AoE attacks, which is really helpful. On top of that, he's immune to all hard CC, while this skill is not on cooldown. Makes him very useful, very strong. And he also gives himself unkillable. And he does more damage the lower his life is. So even if you get outsped, right, you're probably putting him in a speed team with your Arbiter. Even if you get outsped and they smack you down, because he gets so much damage from losing life, and he's going to be unkillable and unCCable, unless you've got someone like a Romantu or a Warlord to lock him out of these things, he comes in and he gives you a really good chance to just kill the enemy team anyway. Void affinity as well, so he works no matter what the affinity of the enemy is. I think he's just such an insanely powerful AoE damage dealer for the arena, so he comes in there. And then my runner-up, I do like to mention a runner-up here. It's kind of a combo. It's a combo, but it's the Sifi Rotos combo. This is definitely my runner-up. I think they're best in combo together, but obviously Rotos pretty much your best single target damage dealer, hitting through unkillable, just massive single target damage, all this stuff, and hard to kill himself. And Sifi works really well in enabling him with her passive, her revive, all the rest. So yeah, they would be my runners up right there. But yeah, let me know what you think. Like I said, this one might be a little bit spicy, kind of a little bit adapting to some of the more modern trends in the arena with Stone Skin and, and Mithralas and all the rest. But yeah, that's kind of what I think. They are my top 10 champions. Let me know who you would put in there. Did I leave out some? I'm sure I left out plenty, like Trunda and all the rest, that you would absolutely be putting in there. But hey, Madam Ceres, it's my list though. This is what I think. Let me know what you think. Thank you for watching. Come check out the stream. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.